Well, Canada, buckle up. It seems we're on the verge of crowning a new king of the liberal throne, and boy, does he come with a resume polished to a suspicious sheen. Mark Carney, former Bank of Canada governor, World Economic Forum darling, and apparent master of creative fiction, is gunning to replace Justin Trudeau. And if his campaign trail is any indication, he's not just running for office, he's auditioning for the starring role in a political reboot of Pinocchio. The nose isn't growing yet, but the whoppers are piling up faster than snowdrifts in a Manitoba winter. Let's take a little stroll through the delightful tapestry of half-truths, fibs, and outright fantasies that Carney's been weaving, shall we? And if you've been enjoying these news topics, hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, it would be great if you did. It would help us out a lot. I've resigned all my positions, full stop. Except, not really. First up, let's give a slow clap to Carney's bold opening gambit. When he tossed his hat into the Liberal leadership ring, he gazed into the camera with those earnest, bankerly eyes and declared, "I have resigned all my positions. I have resigned from all my positions at full stop."
Just told you. I literally just told you. I have resigned all my positions. I resigned all my positions. Full stop.
Note the dramatic pause and the double emphasis like a Shakespearean actor delivering the line that's supposed to make the audience swoon. The problem is the National Post did some pesky fact-checking, that thing journalists do when they're not sipping lattes, and found out he's still clinging to at least 5 of his previous gigs like a toddler to a security blanket. Apparently, when you're an elected official, or aspiring to be one, you're supposed to ditch the conflicts of interest and step down from all those cushy board seats. Carney swore he'd done it, but it turns out full stop must mean except for the ones I forgot about in whatever dialect of English he's speaking these days. Maybe it's the accent he picked up from his years hobnobbing with the global elite. UK English, Irish charm, and a dash of Canadian A for good measure. Either way, it's lie number 1, folks, and we're just getting warmed up. I helped Paul Martin balance the budget, from Wall Street, apparently. Next, let's rewind the clock to Carney's claims of fiscal heroism. He's been strutting around, chest puffed out, insisting he was right there beside Paul Martin, balancing Canada's budget like some kind of economic Robin Hood. There's just one tiny, insignificant hiccup. When Paul Martin was finance minister, meticulously trimming the fat from the federal books in the 90s, Carney was busy making millions at Goldman Sachs. Yes, that Goldman Sachs, the Wall Street titan that's basically the final boss of capitalism. Carney didn't even join the Canadian government until years later after Martin had already moved on to prime ministering. So unless Carney was telepathically advising Martin from a Manhattan penthouse between martinis and hostile takeovers, this is another whopper for the books. Maybe he thinks balancing the budget means balancing his checkbook after a particularly lavish weekend. Lie number 2, and the plot thickens. Stephen Harper. Mark who? Speaking of timelines, let's give a shout-out to Stephen Harper, the former PM who's been watching this circus unfold with the weary disbelief of a man who's seen it all. Harper's the one who actually appointed Carney as Bank of Canada governor back in 2011, even tossing him the prestigious chairmanship of the Financial Stability Board for good measure. You'd think Carney might send Harper a thank you note, or at least not try to rewrite history, but no dice. Instead, Carney's been prancing around claiming he was the mastermind behind Canada's response to the 2008 financial crisis. Harper, in a rare break from his post-PM stoicism, couldn't hold back. I have listened with increasing disbelief to Mark Carney's attempt to take credit for things he had little or nothing to do with, he said, practically rolling his eyes through the page. The real hero, Harper insists, was the late Jim Flaherty, Canada's finance minister at the time, who made the tough calls while Carney was, adjusting interest rates and sipping tea. Flaherty's not here to defend himself, but Harper's happy to slap a liar sticker on Carney's forehead. Brookfield's big move, not me, except yes, you. But wait, there's more. Carney's piece to resistance might just be his Brookfield saga. He's been adamant that he had nothing to do with Brookfield, the massive investment firm, shifting its head office from Canada to New York City. Not my circus, not my monkeys, you can almost hear him say, brushing imaginary dust off his tailored suit. Except whoopsie-daisy, he was the chairman of Brookfield Asset Management, and just months before resigning, he was the one urging shareholders to greenlight the Big Apple move. This wasn't some casual suggestion over brunch. It happened in October with Carney front and center cheerleading the Exodus. Now he's acting like he was just a bystander whistling innocently while Canada lost a corporate heavyweight. Lie number 4, and at this point, we're wondering if he's got a secret scrapbook titled My Greatest Fibs. Semiconductors, Canada's got this. Spoiler, we don't. Oh, and let's not forget Carney's latest gem. His claim that the majority of semiconductors powering the U.S. come from Canada. Picture him saying this with a straight face, maybe even throwing in a patriotic fist bump. The reality? A chart of U.S. semiconductor imports from 2023 shows Canada scraping by with less than 1%, while countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, India, and South Korea dominate the list. Less than 1%, that's not the majority, that's a rounding error. Maybe Carney got his stats from a parallel universe where Canada's a silicon superpower, but here in the real world it's lie number 5. At this rate, he's racking up falsehoods faster than a used car salesman on commission day. I'm Canadian, well, sort of. And now, the grand finale, the lie so audacious it deserves its own drumroll. Carney's been waving the maple leaf like a born-and-bred Canuck, but hold the phone. He's got citizenships in the UK and Ireland too. Only now, as he's eyeing 24 Sussex Drive, has he reluctantly started the process of renouncing them. You can almost hear the gears grinding as he mutters, "Fine, I'll ditch the other passports. Happy now?" It's not just a technicality, it's a question of identity. Is he Canadian when it suits him, or is he a global citizen who's just slumming it in Ottawa for the optics? Lie number 6, or maybe it's more of a cosmic exaggeration. But either way, it's the cherry on top of this dishonesty Sunday. So, Canada, what's the verdict? Here's the million-dollar question. Would you trust Mark Carney? This is a man who's turned fibbing into an art form, painting himself as a budget-balancing, crisis-crushing, all-Canadian hero, while the facts quietly scream otherwise. He's got the charm, the credentials, and the World Economic Forum glow-up, but his relationship with the truth seems to be on life support. Maybe he's not a pathological liar, maybe he's just pathologically ambitious and the lies are collateral damage. Or maybe he's so used to the smoke and mirrors world of high finance that he thinks Canadians won't notice the discrepancies. Spoiler alert, Mark, we're not that gullible. So as we barrel toward the Liberal leadership vote, let's keep our eyes peeled and our BS detectors on high. Carney might talk a good game, but if this campaign is any indication, his promises might be worth about as much as a loony in a tsunami. Canada, you've been warned. Don't say I didn't tell you so when the puppet strings start showing.